Hey, how's it going? This is Jesse with Rock and Roller Multi-Cart. We're continuing our series on tutorials on how to assemble the Rock and Roller cart. First thing we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and lift the flap here. Be a little careful. You know, we use heavier duty staples on these. The last thing we want to do is see you hurt yourself, so just be careful there. You're going to open up the box here. And then what you're going to do is kind of turn it on its side. Grab the cart by its frame and just kind of slide it out. At this point, we're just going to kind of push the box to the side, break free the frame from the cardboard inserts to keep it nice in transport. We'll put it over here. Once you've removed the cardboard inserts, you're going to see that you've got all your wheels here in front of you. We're going to go ahead and put them to the side right now. And you should be left with a manual, some information, some warranty information you're going to want to look up there, specific to your cart model. It'll show the weight capacities, it'll show you the different measurements and everything. You can keep that aside here. Now the first thing you're going to notice is that there's caps on these axles here. Now we add these caps to the axles just so that in shipping transit they don't potentially collapse the frame here. So rest assured you won't need these on the cart, they're just going to protect your cart in transport. So what we're going to do next is we're going to lift the cart on its side. You should see right here that most of the parts are going to be kind of like saran wrap to the side here. So we'll go ahead and break those free. The first thing we're going to want to do here is make sure we've got all the right parts. There we go, looks like it's broken free. Now your cart's package is going to look a little different in an R12. It's going to have a little bit less pieces. Now as you open this up, find a quick little parts check here. In this particular parts kit for an R12, you should see 2 nylon flat washers. You should see 2 of what we call clevis pins, 2 larger cotter pins, and 2 shorter cotter pins. You may also be left with an extra cotter pin in case you lose one, or a plastic insert which can go on the end of the cart should you lose one. They aren't going to be needed in today's assembly though. Step 2 is to check on the tools that you'll need for assembly. With an R12, you're going to get a little different than the other carts. You're going to need some needle nose pliers and a good mallet or a hammer on hand. Next we're going to take our needle nose pliers, we're going to gently wrap them around the axle, and then we're going to push with our thumb and it's going to break free that cap. We'll go ahead to the other side here. I'm going to do the same thing. Once again, we're just going to squeeze very lightly and use our thumb to push off the cap. Once you've freed the cap, you'll notice that you've opened up the hole here, which will assemble the wheels in one of our next steps here. So after you've broken freely those, we'll flip the cart back around. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up the larger of the 2 wheels. These are our R-Track Series 10-inch tires. They're going to act very similar to a pneumatic tire, but without all the hassles. And you'll see it's got a little bit of give to it, so it's like an air tire, but not quite. So we'll break these free here. I'm going to grab the tire here, and you're going to notice that there's a bushing there, and there's some roller bearings inside of that wheel. Now the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to put our finger inside, make sure that all those roller bearings are correctly seated. Now if they're not correctly seated when you go to put the wheel on, you're going to get a little fighting. So you're going to want to pull it back out, free it up. Now the second thing you're going to notice about the wheel is that we have an offset axle here. One side of the wheel is going to stick up farther than the other here. What we're going to want to do is bring that offset towards the inside of the frame. So we're going to go ahead and turn it around here and just slide it right on. Now at this point you should be able to turn your wheel and it should slide pretty freely. Now at this point all we're going to have to do is just assemble it to make sure that it can't fall off. Now in order to do that you're going to need one of the flat nylon washers. You're going to put it right over the top, grab your larger of the 2 cotter pins, and just go ahead and put it right through the top. You'll see that if you face the pin downward, it'll fit right through those holes. Then you're going to want to spin it to its side, grab your needle nose, grab the longer of the 2, and then go ahead and bend it over. And you're going to do the same thing on this side as well. And there you go. This wheel's assembled. For the next step, we're just going to go ahead and flip around the cart and repeat that same step. Finger in inside, correctly seat those bearings. Offset side towards the center of the frame. Turn it on. Make sure it's spinning freely. Nylon washer. Larger of the two cotter pin. Right down here through the holes. Get your needle nose pliers here. And just go ahead and bend it up. Now you don't need to be overzealous and bend it all the way, just enough so that the pin can't work itself out as you use the cart over the years. Alright, on to step 2 here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at these casters. Now the cool part about an R12 cart and why it's probably our best seller is because the R12 enables the cart to go through rough terrain, gravel. You know, if you're in a backyard, you need to get gear through leaves, debris, even light sand. So that's what really makes the R12 and kind of sets it apart from the rest of the fleet. Now the difference here with this caster is you've got a whole caster fork frame and assembly. So this is a lot heavier duty than the other wheels that we carry. Now in order to assemble this part, you're going to notice that there's some receiving holes on the other side of the frame. Now each receiving hole will have a separate horizontal hole that'll go this way. Now when you look at your caster wheel, you'll see the same thing here. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and drop the caster in. You're going to want to align that hole there. Next you're going to take what we call a clevis pin. You're going to go ahead and line it up and try to work its way right into that hole there. Now it may be a little tough at first, so you can always wiggle the wheel around. In some cases, you may have to get the old trusty hammer out and just give it a few hits here. And you'll see that we're lining up, we're looking okay. You're going to want to look at the other side, and it just may take a little bit of brute force here. There we go. And as you see on the other side, it's going to protrude out of here, leaving a little hole there like on the axle wheels that we did earlier. Now at this point we'll take the smaller cotter pin, we'll go ahead and drop it through the hole there. We're going to go ahead and grab our needle nose pliers here. And then we're just going to go ahead and bend that taller one over. This one's a little trickier than the other one, but you should have no problems. And even just one turn on that one is okay. Now at this point, the caster should spin freely, and that should spin freely as well. Now, the beauty of these casters is there's also a brake mechanism as well. And another thing to note is there's a zert fitting. You know, being that there's actual ball bearings in here underneath this O-ring, you'll actually be able to use a zert gun and lubricate them. You know, every cart we offer is going to need a little bit of maintenance, and probably for the R12 the biggest maintenance is going to be the oil right there. Next thing we're going to do is repeat steps. Turn the cart around, find that hole, find the corresponding receiving hole, drop it down in, get that cotter pin, get your hammer out there. There it goes. Once again, it's going to protrude out of here, leaving a little hole for our smallest pin here, cotter pin. We'll go ahead and put it in there. Grab your needle nose, and there we go. All set to go. Should spin freely, turn freely, and voila! You've completed your assembly of a rock and roller cart. Should probably take you about 10 or 15 minutes. You could always refer back to the manual. Enjoy your new cart.